The story begins with a girl named Sang-ji, a 14 years junior high school student. Sang-ji is smaller than her friends, but she's very smart and her academic grades are satisfactory. However, because she often daydreamed and didn't focus when the teacher was explaining lessons in class, her parents were often called to school. And when she gets into the same trouble for the umpteenth time, Sang-ji begs her older brother, Sang-yan, to come to her school. Sang-yan, who's currently studying at college, refuses, and he's fed up because his younger sister often drags him into trouble. And because of that, he nicknames Sang-ji the Little Devil. Then Sang-ji cursed all the way home. However, when she arrived home, she got news from her mother that her brother had returned from the dormitory. Sang-ji happily prepared fruit for her brother, hoping that he would help her. However, she instead meets Doan Jiak-soo, Sang-yan's very handsome friend. Sang-ji begged her brother to help her, but her sweet attitude no longer worked and Sang-ji finally cried so that her brother would be scolded by their mother. But Sang-ji's efforts were in vain, so a desperate Sang-ji asked Doan Jiak-soo to pretend to be her older brother and meet her teacher at school. Doan Jiak-soo didn't refuse, but he also didn't give any certainty, which made Sang-ji wonder whether Doan Jiak-soo really wanted to help her or not. Time passes, and now Sang-ji is a second-year high school student. When Sang-yan moved to the main campus, he planned to move his belongings to the new dormitory, which turned out to be close to Sang-ji's school. After learning that Sang-yan will help to move his friend's things, Sang-ji offers to help because she hopes to meet Doan Jiak-soo. In the afternoon after school, when Sang-ji goes to help her brother, she finally sees Doan Jiak-soo after not seeing him for several years. Doan Jiak-soo almost doesn't recognize Sang-ji because now she is all grown up and she looks very cute. Then Doan Jiak-soo took Sang-ji to his dormitory, and his roommates welcomed Sang-ji well. Before leaving for his part-time job, Doan Jiak-soo tells Sang-ji that if she likes his fox doll, then Sang-ji can take it home. But Sang-ji is curious whether the doll was a gift from Doan Jiak-soo's girlfriend. But fortunately, Jiak-soo's friends explained that he was too busy working to find a girlfriend. And that day, Sang-ji accidentally left her book on Jiak-soo's desk. When Jiak-soo comes back, he borrows Sang-yan's cell phone to talk to Sang-ji about the book. Because Sang-ji had to complete her assignment in the book tomorrow, they agreed to meet at 6 a.m. and Jiak-soo would accompany Sang-ji to do her homework before going to school. The next day, Sang-ji went to the place they had agreed on and she waited anxiously for Jiak-soo. Sang-ji is worried whether he will come or not, just like when Sang-ji was in middle school. Sang-ji is so anxiously waiting for Jiak-soo to come to her school. In the past, Sang-ji was alone waiting in her seat after school. However, she did not see Jiak-soo coming. Because she was desperate, she went home mad and accidentally tripped. Then Jiak-soo appeared and grabbed Sang-ji. But Sang-ji complains that Jiak-soo came late and Jiak-soo immediately apologized to her and they went to the teacher's office. Jiak-soo played his role well and listened to the teacher's complaints that Sang-ji always drew when the teacher was teaching in class. Her grades are good, but Sang-ji's teacher hoped her attitude when studying could be improved. However, Jiak-soo urged Sang-ji to apologize to her teacher, which ultimately made the meeting run well. Back to the present, and Sang-ji thinks that Jiak-soo is late again. Therefore, she cursed Jiak-soo over the phone, cursing that Jiak-soo would never have a girlfriend in his entire life. But then Jiak-soo surprised Sang-ji from behind. It turned out he came early and even gave Sang-ji a bottle of milk. After that, Jiak-soo accompanied Sang-ji to do her homework at the bakery, and he also gave her a sweet cake. Sang-ji looked at Jiak-soo several times while doing her homework, until finally she asked about Jiak-soo's hometown and his vacation plans for the summer. Jiak-soo just smiles and explains that he is from Ye-town and he tells Sang-ji to finish her homework quickly. Before Sang-ji went to school, Jiak-soo put a piece of paper in her bag. Apparently, last night Jiak-soo peeked at Sang-ji's book and read her writing which stated that her brother was very annoying. Then Jiak-soo creates his own narrative with a piece of paper and states that he is happy to see Sang-ji again. When she returned home, Sang-ji's heart pounded when she read the writing. Sang-ji was so happy. She folded the paper carefully and kept the bottle of the milk Jiak-soo gave her. Sang-ji can't drink it because she's allergic to milk, but she keeps the bottle. One day, Sang-ji's parents went to their friend's wedding. Sang-yan then invited his sister to go out to lunch with his friends. Sang-ji certainly didn't want to miss this opportunity to meet Jiak-soo, so she immediately dressed up as beautifully as possible. In the car, there was Kain-fei, one of Sang-yan's roommates, and Jiak-soo looked sleepy because he was busy working. Sang-ji secretly watches Jiak-soo. Then Jiak-soo, who realized this, asked Sang-ji why she always blushed when she saw him. This annoyed Sang-yan and Chan-fei because it seemed that Jiak-soo was a little narcissistic. But the way he flirts with girls is very old-fashioned and outdated, proving that he doesn't have much experience in love. Arriving at the mall, Sang-ji insists that she wants to stay in the car all the way to the parking lot, but Sang-yan told her to go out with the others. Sang-ji feels unwell and she goes to the toilet. At that time, Jiak-soo saw that there was a blood stain on Sang-ji's skirt and he quickly walked behind her to cover the stain. Arriving at the toilet, Jiak-soo asks Sang-ji to wait inside and says that he has somewhere to go. Sang-ji noticed there were blood stains on her skirt where she looked in the mirror and she felt very embarrassed. Meanwhile, Jiak-soo immediately called Sang-yan. The two of them then bought sanitary napkins and a skirt for Sang-ji and asked a woman to take those things to the toilet. Sang-ji feels very embarrassed and hesitates to come out, but fortunately Jiak-soo and Sang-yan agree to keep quiet about this incident. Thoughtfully, Jiak-soo poured Sang-ji a glass of warm water. He also separates beef from Sang-ji's food because Jiak-soo knows she is allergic to it. After eating, Jiak-soo helps Sang-ji play the claw doll machine. At that time, Sang-ji could hear her heart beating very fast and she was even happier when Jiak-soo got a doll for her. Sang-ji remembered the past. That time after Jiak-soo helped her at school, she almost cried when Jiak-soo was about to call Sang-yan to report what happened to her. But Jiak-soo gave up and finally he took Sang-ji home while carrying her school bag. Sang-ji's cheeks were red throughout the way home. She felt very happy that day, just like how she felt now. One day, Sang-ji came to a cafe with her friend Jenru. She didn't expect that Jiak-soo worked part-time in the cafe. On that day, Sang-ji overheard that Jiak-soo's manager had paid his salary in advance, and it made Sang-ji wonder if Jiak-soo was working part-time because he needs a lot of money. Sang-ji really wants to help him, but she can't do anything. After leaving the cafe, Sang-ji comes to a karaoke place to celebrate the birthday of her friend Zhenshu, who apparently has liked Sang-ji since middle school. And that day, Zhenshu wanted to confess his love to Sang-ji. However, Sang-ji firmly refused and made Zhenshu cry. And apparently, Jiak-soo saw it. He then advises Sang-ji on how to reject other people in a good way. After all, Zhenshu had liked Sang-ji for a long time and Sang-ji has to respect him. It wouldn't be a good thing if Sang-ji rejected him by hurting his feelings. After that incident, Jenru didn't want to talk to Sang-ji anymore. It was revealed that it turned out that Jenru likes Zhenshu and was jealous of Sang-ji, who had gotten a love confession from him. In the midst of this confusion, Sang-ji was asked by his teacher to take part in Sports Week. Coincidentally, Sang-yan and Jiak-soo were on the committee for the event because their campus was close to Sang-ji's school. With great care, Jiak-soo put a hat on Sang-ji to protect her from the sun. Another concern was shown by Jiak-soo when Sang-ji repeatedly failed to do the high jump and injured her leg. Jiak-soo even carried Sang-ji into the tent to be treated carefully. Sang-ji was very moved and felt that Jiak-soo treated her better than her own brother. However, Sang-yan also cares about his sister. It's just that he wasn't sensitive enough to understand his sister's feelings. When Sang-ji saw Jiak-soo carefully helping another girl, she felt that he was indeed being kind to everyone. One day after school, Jenru suddenly approached Sang-ji and asked her to go somewhere. The two of them wandered around for a long time before Jenru finally said that she actually wanted to go to the internet cafe. In fact, their teacher often warned them to be careful when visiting that place because unwanted things often happen there. Jenru actually didn't want to go to the internet cafe, but she was bullied by a group of senior girls. She didn't dare to fight back and tried to trick Sang-ji by dragging her into this matter. They then searched Sang-ji's bag and threatened her, telling Sang-ji to bring money tomorrow. Of course, Sang-ji was very disappointed with Jenru and she finally understood why Jenru suddenly came to her again. Sang-ji asked Jenru to go home and explain this problem to her parents, then Sang-ji walked alone. No matter how sorry Jenru was, Sang-ji would not accept her apology anymore. Sang-ji's leg injury has not yet recovered, and because Sang-yan has something to do, he asked Jiak-soo for help to pick up his sister from school. Jiak-soo immediately looked for Sang-ji after finding out that she was not at school, and fortunately Jiak-soo was able to find Sang-ji in an alley near the internet cafe. At that time, Sang-ji didn't want to tell Jiak-soo about her problems because she didn't want to trouble him. But Jiak-soo was too upset to let this happen, and he immediately acted after finding out everything. The next day, Sang-yan, Jiak-soo, and Kayan-fei came to see the brats who had been bothering Sang-ji. They were ready to fight if there were men involved, but it turned out they were just a group of girls. Sang-yan was very angry, but he didn't hurt the girls, and the problem was resolved after the girls were given a warning. After what happened, Jenru was transferred to another school by her parents. Before leaving, she leaves a letter of apology for Sang-ji full of regret. However, Sang-ji did not say anything to her. She was very disappointed and sad because her friendship had ended in a bad way. Time passed and Sang-ji's final exam results came out. Even though her grades were quite satisfactory, her grade in physics is still low. Her parents sincerely advised Sang-ji to think carefully about her future. And after seeing this situation, they decided to call a tutor who could help Sang-ji with physics lessons during the winter holiday. Sang-ji is very disappointed after finding out that her tutor is her own brother. During study time, the two of them just fought and hardly did anything to study. In the end, Sang-ji's mother decided to look for someone else. But Sang-ji, who doesn't want to learn, plans that tomorrow she will sneak out. But she immediately gave up her plans after learning that the tutor who would replace her brother was Jiak-su. Before the lesson begins, Jiak-su plays games with Sang-yan and Sang-ji tries to take photos of Jiak-su secretly. Jiak-su realized this and posed, which made Sang-ji embarrassed and immediately looked for an excuse to cover up her action. They then begin to learn, and it turns out that Sang-ji doesn't know anything about physics. However, Jiak-su taught her very well. Sang-ji then asked Jiak-su why he is studying in this city. Jiak-su then explained that he wanted to be in the gaming industry, and now the city had the most developed gaming industry, so he came here. During the holiday season, Jiak-su works 4 days a week and spends the remaining 3 days tutoring Sang-ji. On one occasion, he worked too hard and became exhausted while teaching. Sang-ji realized this allowed him to rest a little longer and carefully covered him with a coat. After giving lessons for several days, Jiak-su realized that Sang-ji was not interested in physics, so he took Sang-ji to the Science and Technology Museum to increase her interest in physics. This moment made Sang-ji very happy. Apart from getting lots of lessons, she also has the opportunity to do lots of fun things with the person she likes. Later, Jiak-su shared that he wanted to make his own game and spread happiness to people. He believes that a game can help someone avoid negative things as long as it is used wisely. Sang-ji then said that she would study hard until she could find her own dream someday. After talking about the future, Sang-ji suddenly asks Jiak-su not to date. Sang-ji spoke as if she was afraid that Jiak-su's girlfriend would hinder his dreams. But besides that, she was also afraid that Jiak-su would not be nice to her anymore because Jiak-su had other priorities. But Jiak-su refuses that, and instead he promises to find a gentle girlfriend and will be nice to Sang-ji. That way there will be one more person who cares about Sang-ji. Hearing this, Sang-ji agrees, but she asks Jiak-su to show her his future girlfriend first, and Jiak-su promises to do so. Time flies and Chinese New Year arrives. Sang-ji wanted to give Jiak-su red envelopes, but instead of money, she made New Year's greetings, folded them into little stars, put them in a red envelope, and secretly put them in Jiak-su's coat when he came to her house. Politely, Jiak-su declined Sang-ji's family's dinner invitation because he had to go back to the dormitory. Jiak-su spent New Year's Eve in the dormitory alone. While people were happy, he actually received a surprising call from the hospital saying that his father was suffering from a lung infection and needed immediate surgery. Jiak-su returned to his hometown to solve this problem without telling anyone. And because his college term is almost over, he will return to Namu City for the graduation ceremony. After school starts again, Sang-ji receives a gift from Jiak-su. It was at that time she learned that Jiak-su had returned to his hometown. Sang-ji is very happy with Jiak-su's gift of a stuffed dog, which she thinks is very similar to Sang-yan. Sang-ji wanted to send another gift in return, but Jiak-su refused. They made an appointment over the phone to meet at the graduation ceremony, and Sang-ji will use this opportunity to give Jiak-su a gift. On the day of the graduation ceremony, Sang-ji came with her father, while her mother couldn't come because she was ill. Sang-ji's eyes lit up when she saw Jiak-su wearing an academic dress. Awkwardly, Sang-ji immediately gives Jiak-su flowers. Then Jiak-su said goodbye to his classmates, and it might be difficult for them to meet again in the future. Sang-ji is afraid that she won't be able to see Jiak-su again. However, Jiak-su emphasized that he would come back to see Sang-ji in his free time. Not wanting to miss this happy moment, Jiak-su asked his friend to take a photo of himself with Sang-ji, whom he introduced as his younger sister. Sang-ji is a little disappointed because Jiak-su only sees her as a younger sister. But she was also happy because it proved that Jiak-su was no longer a stranger in her life. Unfortunately, that day, Sang-ji didn't find the right moment to give the gift she had prepared to Jiak-su. During the party at night, everyone makes noise at the bar talking about their lives and future plans. But Jiak-su was very sad because he had to return to Yi with all the problems that were waiting for him. Jiak-su drives the drunk Sang-yan home and he plans to sleep at the hotel. But Sang-yan's mother restrained him and asked him to stay at their house. In the middle of the night, Sang-ji asked Jiak-su why he hasn't slept yet. Jiak-su didn't tell her the problem, but Sang-ji could feel that Jiak-su was unhappy. Sang-ji urges him to tell the problems. But Sang-ji also said that she would only accompany him if Jiak-su wasn't ready to tell her about his problems. Seeing that sincerity, Jiak-su told Sang-ji a little about his problem. He said that he owed someone a lot. Sang-ji seriously asked Jiaxu not to worry because she will help him after making money herself. Jiaxu then explained that all the debts were not Sang-ji's responsibility, and he asked Sang-ji to buy her own needs if she could earn money someday. Sang-ji, who couldn't sleep, wrote a wish on a piece of paper. She wanted to quickly make money and help Jiaxu pay off his debt. And after folding it into a little star, she put the wish paper in the milk bottle that Jiaxu had given her before. Before dawn, Jiaxu left secretly, but Sang-ji sees him from the balcony and Jiaxu waves at Sang-ji. Jiaxu texts that he has to catch an early flight and reminds Sang-ji not to forget her exams. Sang-ji continues to study hard and is now in her 3rd year of high school. Her goal after graduation is to enter Yi University, so she can be closer to Jiaxu. But that enthusiasm was gone when Sang-ji accidentally heard the news that Jiaxu already had a girlfriend. Her heart was very broken and she actually wanted to ask Jiaxu, but she didn't have the courage. Sang-ji thinks that Jiaxu has broken his promise, a promise to introduce his girlfriend to her first. Sang-ji decides to ask Jiaxu directly, and Sang-yan is furious when he finds out that his sister has flown to Yi alone. So he immediately asked Jiaxu to pick up Sang-ji. At that time, Sang-ji said that she went to Yi to meet her online dating mate. Sang-yan and his parents were worried, but they didn't realize the real reason. Then Jiaxu appeared with a woman. Seeing this, Sang-ji had many questions in her heart. She wondered if this woman was Jiaxu's girlfriend. Sang-ji was silent until finally she cried and said that her online dating mate didn't like her and thought she was too young. It was clear that this was just Sang-ji's excuse to cover up her sadness. Jiaxu then comforts her by saying that Sang-ji will find someone better when she grows up. Hearing that, Sang-ji became even sadder and thought that when she grew up, Jiaxu would also find a woman better than her. Sang-ji went to the toilet crying. She saw that the woman was very familiar with Jiaxu, which made Sang-ji even sadder. After crying, Sang-ji returns to see Jiaxu. Meanwhile, the woman who was with Jiaxu had already left because she had work to do. Jiaxu has bought a plane ticket for Sang-ji, and he takes her out to eat before flight time. Later, Sang-ji hands Jiaxu a tie as a gift, which she previously failed to give at the graduation ceremony. Then Sang-ji secretly puts money into Jiaxu's wallet to change the plane ticket. Finally, Sang-ji handed over the teddy bear that Jiaxu had picked up on the claw machine and said that she hoped the doll would keep Jiaxu happy. Jiaxu accepted it with a smile, and they finally went their separate ways. Sang-yan picks Sang-ji up at the airport, but he doesn't scold her because he doesn't think it's the right time. Sang-ji continued to cry all the way home. Luckily, her parents tried to understand her feelings and did not immediately judge her so as not to scare her. After what happened, Sang-ji decided to move on. She put all the things related to Jiaxu into the box and said goodbye. Time passed, and finally Sang-ji was accepted at Yi University in the digital media department according to her wishes. She lived a pleasant life. She takes military training and classes and meets wonderful roommates. When one of Sang-ji's friends has a birthday, everyone celebrates at a karaoke place. At that time, Jiaxu was at the same place to attend an invitation from his colleagues. Sang-ji and Jiaxu walk in the same hallway, but neither of them notices each other. Sang-ji, who was not used to crowds, then went out to get some fresh air, and that's when she met Jiaxu, who was sitting on the stairs. Jiaxu felt a little unhappy because Sang-ji had ignored his messages all this time. Jiaxu felt that Sang-ji didn't care about him even though he didn't know what he had done wrong. Actually, Sang-ji ignored Jiaxu's message because she wanted to move on. But after meeting him again, Sang-ji reasons that she is too busy studying to get accepted into her dream university. Jiaxu accepted Sang-ji's excuse, and he took her home even though he had to travel quite a distance. That night, Jiaxu said that he was alone. And when he heard the news from Sang-yan that Sang-ji was going to study in Yi, he felt very happy. The confession made Sang-ji confused, and her feelings were mixed. She was even more curious, because as far as she knew, Yi was Jiaxu's hometown. Besides, his family is also here, and he already has a girlfriend. So how could he be lonely? After graduating from college, Jiaxu worked at a fairly well-known game company, and he was highly relied on by his company. The one who had gone with Jiaxu to the airport, Sai-yun, also worked at the same place. Turns out, she's nothing more than Jiaxu's colleague and boss. On the other hand, Sang-ji invites Jiaxu to dinner as a thank you. Sang-ji also wanted to use this opportunity to get to know Jiaxu better because it seemed that there were still many things she didn't know about Jiaxu. On the other hand, there's a student from the sports department who likes Sang-ji. His name is Jian Ming. He takes Sang-ji to the movies and her roommates want to come too. Sang-ji wanted to refuse because she already had an appointment with Jiak-soo on the weekend, but she couldn't explain it because her roommates really wanted her to go to the movies. Thus, Sang-ji had no choice but to agree. On the other hand, a woman who really cares about Jiak-soo sends several things, but Jiak-soo always throws them away. Apparently, Jiak-soo owed the woman something, and after paying it off, Jiak-soo asked her not to contact him anymore. The woman was Xiao Ying, and she felt very sad because Jiak-soo continued to ignore her messages. On weekends, Sang-ji prefers to meet with Jiak-soo, just like her initial plan. However, Jiak-soo seems to have to cancel this appointment. Sang-ji felt that Jiak-soo was not feeling well, so she hurriedly asked for his office address and rushed to meet him. Jiak-soo's face was so pale because his stomach hurts. Sang-ji immediately called a taxi, and she accidentally crashed into Jiak-soo on the side of the road until Jiak-soo accidentally kissed Sang-ji's forehead. It turns out Jiak-soo suffered from appendicitis and decided to proceed with surgery. Meanwhile, Sang-ji waits outside, and at the same time, her mother calls. And after telling the situation, Sang-ji learns some stories about Jiak-soo's past. Sang-ji's mother had never mentioned this matter before, that in the past, Jiak-soo once borrowed money from their family to pay for the treatment of his sick mother. Jiak-soo continued to work hard until he could pay off his debt within 6 months, but in the end, his mother died. Sang-ji almost cried after hearing this story, and she finally understood why Jiak-soo is always busy working. After the operation is complete, Jiak-soo urges Sang-ji to go home immediately and not worry about him. But after that, Jiak-soo kept thinking about the previous incident when he accidentally kissed Sang-ji's forehead. After some time, Sang-yan called to express his concern, but in a nonchalant manner. At that time, Jiak-soo wanted to explain something to Sang-yan, but he thought better of it. Apparently, Sang-ji couldn't afford to leave Jiak-soo until she decided to accompany him. Sang-ji believes that Jiak-soo would do the same if she was sick, because Jiak-soo was unable to get out of bed. Sang-ji offered to help him wipe his face before going to sleep, and Sang-ji did it with great attention. The next day, Jiak-soo asks Sang-ji to get his laptop at his house, but Sang-ji refuses and says that Jiak-soo have to rest. Hearing Sang-ji grumbling made Jiak-soo realize that the girl was indeed an adult. After finishing her activities in class, Sang-ji went to Jiak-soo's house to take some clothes. At that time, Sang-ji didn't expect Jiak-soo still have a photo with her at his graduation. And after seeing a photo of Jiak-soo's mother, Sang-ji introduced herself. Then, Xiao Ying came right after Sang-ji left, and she didn't know that Jiak-soo is being treated in hospital, and currently, the house is empty. Sang-ji returns to the hospital and brings Jiak-soo's laptop. However, she warned him not to work too hard. The old man beside Jiak-soo's bed thought that Sang-ji was Jiak-soo's wife, but Jiak-soo then explains that Sang-ji is his younger sister. However, the old man apparently couldn't hear well and still thought that they were a perfect couple. Jiak-soo agreed with his words and responded with a joke, but apparently Sang-ji was not happy with this joke. She always hides her feelings carefully, but Jiak-soo easily made a joke about it. Sang-ji thought that maybe for Jiak-soo, they'll have no relationship other than brother and sister. That is why Jiak-soo can make jokes like that. After returning home from the hospital, Sang-ji was so attentive that she made lots of notes for Jiak-soo to maintain his diet. After leaving, Sang-ji comforts herself and accepts the fact that she is just a little sister for Jiak-soo. Besides that, Jiak-soo notices that Sang-ji changes her attitude and he's worried that she will be angry. After telling it to Sai-yun, she suggested Jiak-soo ask Sang-ji to have dinner together and also discuss this matter. Sang-ji couldn't refuse when Jiak-soo asked her to have dinner on New Year's Eve. Jiak-soo apologized to Sang-ji for the joke he had made at the hospital, but Sang-ji said that it was not a big problem. Then they were chatting about many things, but Xiao Ying happened to see them as she was angry. She splashed Jiak-soo and felt that he had ignored her. Sang-ji couldn't accept this, so she splashed Xiao Ying too, and it made Xiao Ying even more furious. In fact, Xiao Ying said that Jiak-soo owes her a lifetime debt. In the end, Xiao Ying was dragged away by her friend and the cafe workers. Sang-ji helps Jiak-soo wipe the water on his face and asks who the woman is. But Jiak-soo just explained that his father owed the woman money. Sang-ji remembers that she once ran into her and is worried that she will continue to pester her. Jiak-soo, seeing how Sang-ji cared so much about him, made him moved. The door to his heart seemed to be knocked, and he was very grateful. It snowed that night, and Sang-ji secretly made a wish. She hoped Jiak-soo kept away from unpleasant things and hoped that he could be by her side. Jiak-soo did the same thing. He made a wish and hoped that Sang-ji would always be happy and healthy. After Jiak-soo arrived at his house, Xiao Ying was already waiting for him and apologized for her actions at the cafe earlier. She is still mad because Jiak-soo ignored her, and she demanded accountability for past events. The scene then shows Jiaxu in the past. At that time, he's a high school student. Xiao Ying was his and her classmate attracted to him. Until one day, Xiao Ying's father died due to an accident caused by Jiaxu's father. Jiaxu's family tried to make amends by paying compensation money determined by the court. Jiaxu's mother also promised that her family would take care of Xiao Ying. But when Jiaxu tries to be nice to Xiao Ying, she's always ignored him. Things got worse when Jiaxu's mother died and he barely had time to pay attention to Xiao Ying because he was busy working. Apparently, Xiao Ying still liked Jiaxu, but her love slowly turned into obsession. She demanded Jiaxu to love her as a form of responsibility for incidents in the past. And because of that, Jiaxu doesn't like it. After what happened, Jiaxu felt better after seeing Sangji's photo, which somehow gave him peace. He watched the fireworks on the roof and texting with Sangji, who was also enjoying the excitement of New Year's Eve. On one occasion, Xiao Ying caused a commotion at Jiaxu's company. At the same time, Sangji comes to the office and meets with Jiaxu, which really worries her. Jiaxu firmly asked Sangji to let him know before meeting him at the office or at home. He was afraid that Sangji would run into Xiao Ying and might hurt her. But Sangji thought that Jiaxu didn't like it if she immediately came to see him like this. That day, Sangji came to the office to give the smart bell to Jiaxu. With this bell, he could find out who came to visit his house, so he could anticipate Xiao Ying who kept bothering him. Another attention was again knocking on Jiaxu's heart, which slowly began to open up to Sangji. Time continues to pass. The process of the game design in Jiaxu's company went well, and during this time he was very busy. Towards the end of the semester, Sangji kept thinking about Jiaxu and hoped he would get an explanation soon. After the exam, Sangji invites her friends to relax and they all agree. Jiang Ming sings a love song on stage for Sangji, but she ignored it. When Jiaxu called, a slightly drunk Sangji said that she was at the bar with her friends and Jiaxu rushed to pick her up. Seeing Sangji coming out of the bar, Jiang Ming immediately followed her. So Jiaxu came just when Jiang Ming was trying to help Sangji, who had drunk too much. Jiaxu immediately took over and Jiang Ming had no choice but to leave after Sangji said that Jiaxu is her older brother. Sangji, who was drunk, started to feel nauseous, so she vomited in front of Jiaxu. That night, Sangji reveals a secret that she likes someone. But Sangji didn't say who it was. Only, she explained that the guy was nice to all the women and that made her sad. Jiaxu didn't know who the person Sangji was talking about was, but he felt uncomfortable with the confession. Jiaxu drove Sangji back to the dormitory, and the next day, Sangji woke up upset thinking about what happened yesterday, especially when she accidentally vomited in front of Jiaxu. Her roommates were very excited. They often heard stories about Jiaxu, but never thought that he was that handsome. Sangji then decided to return to Nanwu during the end-of-semester holidays. She had already bought a ticket, and Jiaxu, who knew about this, came to Sangji's dormitory to take her to the airport. While Sangji is loading her luggage into the car, Jiang Ming suddenly comes to talk to her and expresses his feelings. Sangji was confused, but then she remembered Jiaxu's advice about how to properly reject other people's feelings. Jiang Ming accepted Sangji's rejection gracefully after Sangji thanked him and explained that she already likes someone. Jiaxu watches everything from a distance and thinks that the man is the person Sangji likes. Strangely, he looks jealous all the way to the airport, and this is proof that he is starting to like Sangji. Long story short, Sangji spent her holiday at home. Meanwhile, Canfei comes to have dinner with Jiaxu on his first business trip in Yi. Jiaxu told a little about his romance and said that he was attracted to a young girl who unfortunately already likes someone. Jiaxu explains that the girl likes men who are nice to all women. Suddenly, Canfei said that the man was referring to as Jiaxu. Canfei then explains that maybe the guy the girl likes is Jiaxu because he is also nice to all the girls. Jiaxu denied it at first, but then he decided to find out. One day, Jiaxu went to Nanwu to attend Canfei's wedding. Sangji is surprised to see Jiaxu wearing the tie she gave him. And throughout the meeting, Jiaxu always jokingly claimed that Sang Yan was his older brother. This makes Sangji even more confused. And actually, Jiaxu used this opportunity to find out Sangji's feelings, so he observed Sangji's every behavior. Seeing that Sangji often misbehaves and makes inconsistent excuses, Jiaxu thinks that Sangji is indeed interested in him. After eating, Sang Yan refused to go home. Unwillingly, Sangji says goodbye to everyone, but Jiaxu offers to take her home. That night, for the first time, Jiaxu called Sangji by her nickname, Zhizhi. This made Sangji stunned for a moment. After taking Sangji home, Jiaxu gives her a bracelet with Sangji's initials engraved on it as a New Year's gift. Jiaxu's gaze seemed unusual that night, making Sang Ji wonder what happened to him. Sang Ji then finds out about the meaning of giving bracelets, but she is disappointed after reading an article which states that it is only a form of attention from older people. And because of that, she didn't want to wear it. Besides, Jiaxu struggled all night to get the same flight ticket as Sang Ji, so he could return to Yi with her. At the airport, Jiaxu meets his high school classmate, who accidentally mentions Xiao Ying and says that Jiaxu is dating her. Jiaxu immediately denies it, and Sang Ji pretends to be casual when she asked about it. She finally knew that Xiao Ying was the woman who had splashed Jiaxu at the cafe. However, Jiaxu explains that if he had a girlfriend, he would introduce her to Sang Ji first. Hearing those words, Sang Ji was shocked and realized that Jiaxu never forgot his promise. Then Sang Ji asked about the woman Jiaxu had brought to the airport at that time. Then Jiaxu smiled when he saw Sang Ji looking jealous and shy. He was increasingly convinced that the girl really liked him. Feeling confident, Jiaxu decides to go after Sang Ji first. She accepts all advice from his friends about how to win a woman's heart. The first step he had to take was to bring Sang Ji together with Sai Yun, a woman he had taken to the airport. And after they met, Sang Ji found out that Jiaxu had never dated and Sai Yun was nothing more than a workmate. Apparently, Jiaxu asked Sai Yun for help to explain everything to Sang Ji so that she wouldn't misunderstand. After that, Jiaxu took Sang Ji to the cinema. However, the first date didn't go smoothly when Sang Ji accidentally drank a drink containing milk and caused her allergy to flare up. Jiaxu immediately changed her drink, and for the rest of the day, Sang Ji had a rash that required her to be taken to the hospital. After giving medicine to Sang Ji, Jiaxu remembers that he once gave her milk. Sang Ji lies. She said that she gave the milk to her friend. In the dorm, everyone waits for updates from Sang Ji about her first date. The date didn't go smoothly, but Sang Ji was happy because Jiaxu seemed to like her. Anyway, Sang Ji's friends are happy. They have been following Sang Ji's love story, so after this, they try to guide Sang Ji in matters of love. On her birthday, Sang Ji dresses up beautifully to meet Jiaxu. They go to spend time together. On the bus, Jiaxu always looks after Sang Ji and offers Sang Ji to hold his hand so that she doesn't fall. They go to the cinema to watch a film they failed to watch last time. Jiaxu shows all kinds of attention to Sang Ji, and it makes her very happy. Sang Ji is surprised when Jiaxu invites her to his house. She still remembered Jiaxu's words not to come to see him at the office or his home. Then Jiaxu quickly explained that he just didn't want Sang Ji to run into Xiao Ying, who might hurt her. And because of that, he asked Sang Ji to let him know if she wanted to see him. Sang Ji understands, and she accepts Jiaxu's invitation to come to his house. It turns out Jiaxu has prepared a birthday surprise on the roof of his house, as well as a birthday cake specially prepared for Sang Ji. That night, Sang Ji was very happy because it was her first birthday with Jiaxu. She hoped to celebrate it again in the future together with Jiaxu. On the other hand, Jiaxu prepares a gift for Sang Ji and asks her to open it after coming home. Jiaxu realizes that Sang Ji is liked by many people, so he asks how to win her heart. Sang Ji explains that the person must be handsome, kind, taller than her, and have the same views. Jiaxu then asked if he could chase Sang Ji. Hearing the question, Sang Ji was nervous and wondered whether Jiaxu meant what he said. But Jiaxu looked serious, and he didn't want to just be a brother to Sang Ji. Jiaxu also explains that he asked for permission like this so that Sang Ji wouldn't be confused by all the good attitudes he would show. Sang Ji is doubtful, and she just says that Jiaxu can chase her. Sang Ji blushed even more when Jiaxu complimented her and said that Sang Ji looked beautiful today. The situation was really nice, until finally Sang Ji came home bringing Jiaxu's cake to her dormitory. And apparently, her friends have prepared a surprise for her birthday. Sang Ji gets a small camera as a gift from Jiaxu, and she really likes it. That night, Sang Ji tells her brother that she might be dating someone. Sang Yan, who was busy managing the bar, only warned Sang Ji to be careful, but after hearing that his younger sister was dating someone older, he couldn't calm down and immediately advised her. Sang Ji accepts her friend's suggestion to test Jiaxu by not immediately accepting his invitation to date. If Jiaxu continues to look for ways to meet her, then Sang Ji will accept his invitation. But Jiaxu's busy life seemed to be the main reason they rarely saw each other. Through this incident, Sang Ji begins to doubt Jiaxu's feelings, until one day Jiaxu again had to cancel his date with Sang Ji. This time it wasn't because of work, but Jiaxu had to go to the hospital to see the condition of his father, who was in a coma due to an accident several years ago. The scene shows a flashback. That night, after accidentally bumping into Xiao Ying's father, instead of taking responsibility, Jiaxu's father chose to run away. His family asked him to turn himself into the police, but he didn't want to listen and went jumping into a fairly high window. Jiaxu's life was destroyed instantly. His helpless father was in a coma in the hospital, and his mother was forced to continue working day and night to earn a living, and Jiaxu's youth was spent studying while working. His suffering continued when his mother fell ill and eventually died. After visiting his father, Jiaxu returned home with a tired face. Even though he really wanted to rest, he chose to go to Sangji's dormitory and thought that was his only chance to meet Sangjai. Jiaxu often misses appointments, but Sangji is mature enough to understand and tolerate it. As a form of support when they meet, Sangji buys cotton candy for Jiaxu and says that if he eats this candy, it will make him happy. This was the first time Jiaxu had such sweet support from someone, and he was very grateful. When Sangji attends an open seminar at her campus, Jiaxu secretly comes to participate. Sangji was so nervous when Jiaxu kept looking at her that she pretended to be asleep and closed her eyes. Jiaxu brought his face closer to Sangji's face and poked her cheek. Sangji thinks Jiaxu kissed her without warning, and Jiaxu deliberately asked what she did just now. Instead of answering with words, Sangji asked Jiaxu to come closer and kissed him on the cheek. Shyly, Sangji says that even though she has done this, she still doesn't want to accept it. Jiaxu continued to tease her for the rest of the class, and after that, the two of them went for a walk around campus. The holidays are coming soon. Sangji decides to stay in Yi and look for an internship to improve her experience. Sang Yan, who knew this, didn't allow it because he was worried that his sister would waste her time dating. Even though Sangji doesn't want to go home because she wants to be with Jiaxu, she was also seriously about improving her experiences by joining an internship program. Sangji prepared a birthday surprise for Jiaxu at a restaurant. She borrowed the kitchen to make a traditional food called long life noodles. Jiaxu liked it very much and enjoyed it. Then he closed his eyes and made a wish. Sangji knows what his wish is and says that it will come true easily because now she agreed to date him. They looked at each other and became lost in the romance they had just started. Sangji feels that today is very special because it is Jiaxu's birthday and also their first day together. Jiaxu explains his family situation to Sangji that he had never told before. Jiaxu is afraid that the problem he is facing now might make Sangji unhappy, but Sangji denies that she doesn't mind at all. She also promised to always be by Jiaxu's side. At the end of semester, Sangji starts looking for a place to do an internship. One day, the electricity in Sangji's dormitory went out. Because of this, Jiaxu invites Sangji to his house and helps her study. Not only that, Jiaxu also prepared food for Sangji with great care. In return, Sangji washed all the dirty dishes. That evening, Jiaxu took Sangji home while holding her hand tightly. He feels proud of their relationship, and for the first time, Sangji can say out loud that she really likes Jiaxu. A simple sentence, but it takes a lot of courage to express it. On that happy night, while talking to Kainfei on the phone, Jiaxu told him everything. Jiaxu expressed his gratitude because Kainfei's guidance could help him find true love. Kainfei is very surprised to find out that Jiaxu is dating Sangji and hurriedly hangs up the call. One certain thing is, Kainfei advises Jiaxu to immediately explain everything to Sang Yan. On the other hand, Jiaxu's relationship with Sangji is getting closer. They both made time to meet each other in the midst of their busy lives. Not only that, they also care about each other and also tease each other. Sometimes they also feel jealous of each other. And finally, the end of semester holiday arrived. Sangji's parents didn't want their daughter to live in Yi alone. In fact, they helped Sangji find an internship in Nanwo. But Sangji insisted on staying in Yi. Then Sangjai receives good news that she passed the interview for an internship at an advertising company. On her first day of work, Sangji doesn't know that her department head is Xiao Yu, Xiao Ying's friend. In this situation, Xiao Yu thinks that Sangji is her friend's enemy, so she doesn't treat Sangjai well. On the first day of her internship, Sangji was displeased, but she hid that fact from her parents. Unexpectedly, Jiaxu specially brought a bouquet of flowers for Sangji and then invited her to dinner together as a form of support on her first day of work. As time passed, even though Sangji continued to get pressure from Xiao Yu, she did not give up and tried to do her best at her job. Sangji felt a lot of comfort when she met Jiaxu. Leaning in Jiaxu's arms was enough to restore her lost energy. One time, Jiaxu took Sangji to the office and they looked so intimate. Xiao Yu happened to see this scene as she was passing by. Then she told Xiao Ying about it and thought that Sangji snatched Jiaxu from her. This news made Xiao Ying unhappy, so she tried to meet Sangji at all costs. When the two of them finally met, Xiao Ying explained Jiaxu's real situation and said that he is the son of a murderer and has many responsibilities, especially to take care of his father who is in a coma with with expensive medical costs every year. She also claims that Jiaxu didn't get enough love because of his family, so he will easily interpret people's kindness as love. Xiao Ying thinks that Sangji will stay away from Jiaxu after hearing this fact, but she is totally wrong. Sangji has known Jiaxu many years ago, and during that time, she has developed her feelings for him. Her love is not temporary attraction, but it's a feeling of affection and readiness to accept all of his shortcomings. Apart from that, Sangji believes that Jiaxu has nothing to do with the death of Xiao Ying's father, and there is no reason to blame him. Sangji understands Xiao Ying's feelings, and because of that, she doesn't judge her. Sangji hopes that Xiao Ying will soon realize that she's on the wrong path. When she met Jiaxu, Sangji didn't tell him what happened. She took the bread from Jiaxu and then gave him a bank card of her savings. Sangji said that as a good girlfriend, she wanted to do the best for her boyfriend. Actually, Jiaxu didn't refuse it, but he gave it back to Sangji and asked her to buy everything she wanted. Then both of them agreed not to use the money carelessly, and Sangji was mature enough to think about buying a house together in the future. On one occasion, Jiaxu took Sangji home after she worked overtime. Suddenly, Sangji's mother called to ask about her condition. And then Sang Yan called Sangji, and he turned out to be secretly following Jiaxu and Sangjai. Sang Yan made the atmosphere very tense because it seemed he didn't like this situation. Sangji tried to explain carefully before finally, Jiaxu took over and explained their relationship to Sang Yan, who still had a cold face. After taking Sangji to her dormitory, Sang Yan asked Jiaxu to talk in private. Sangji worried, but Jiaxu said that everything will be okay. In a quiet place, Sang Yan let go of all the emotions he was holding back and punched Jiaxu. He continued to hit him several times, and Jiaxu didn't do any resistance. Sang Yan asked Jiaxu, among all the girls, why Jiaxu should date his sister. But Jiaxu convinced Sang Yan that he's serious with Sangjai. In the end, Sang Yan can't say anything, but his heart is still angry. He's just afraid that his sister will get hurt, and that will definitely have an impact on his friendship with Jiaxu. Sang Yan calmed his emotions and took Jiaxu away for treatment. On the way, Jiaxu promised Sang Yan that he would treat Sangji well for the rest of his life. Jiaxu repeatedly said that he's serious with this relationship and they are only 5 years apart. At Jiaxu's house, Sang Yan didn't say that he approved their relationship and only warned Jiaxu about the consequences that he would get if his sister was hurt. The next day, Jiaxu wore a mask to hide his wound from Sangjai, but he still cannot hide it. Sangji knew that this was her brother's doing, so she angrily came to him at a cafe. Jiaxu persuades Sangji to talk with her brother. They were mad at each other, but then made up awkwardly. However, Sang Yan did all this because he cared about his sister, but he couldn't show it in a gentle way. After that, Jiaxu went to his company and Sang Yan insisted on accompanying him to work at the office. On that unexpected day, Sang Yan revealed that he was very worried about his sister's relationship, but on the other hand, he felt relieved knowing that Sangji's boyfriend was Jiaxu, and he knew about Jiaxu's character and personality well. On the next day, Sang Yan went home because he had to manage his bar. Jiaxu accidentally got words from someone who saw Xiao Ying speak with Sangjai. Then Jiaxu immediately met Xiao Ying with a warning letter from the police. Jiaxu warned Xiao Ying if she meets his girlfriend again, then he will bring this case into legal action. Jiaxu will not never let anyone hurt Sangji and will do anything for her. At the office, Sangji has the courage to put forward her own ideas at a meeting. Even though Xiao Yu didn't agree, the leader really liked Sangji's ideas and asked the team to consider it. Because of that, Xiao Yu hated Sangji more and more. She felt she had been humiliated at the meeting and accuses Sangji of stealing someone's boyfriend. But Sangji never tells Jiaxu about it as long as she can handle it herself. She doesn't want to burden her boyfriend, who is already very busy working. Jiaxu realizes that, but he also wants to be a reliable boyfriend and asks Sangji to share her problems if it feels very hard. Jiaxu rented a house with 2 bedrooms near Sangji's campus, so he can meet Sangji more often. However, he bought the house not to live together with Sangjai. If Sangji feels tired, he thinks that this house can be a place to rest for her. Jiaxu handing over the key to Sangji and showing that this house will be hers in the future. Coincidentally, not long after that, the aircon in Sangji's place broke down, so she was forced to stay at Jiaxu's house for a while. A lot of sweet things happen between them while they're living together, and the most important thing is that they know each other's limits. Jiaxu's project made great progress. After staying up all night and working overtime this year, the game he developed with his team was finally launched and got a lot of positive response. Meanwhile, on her last day of internship, Sangji specially gave a farewell gift to Xiao Yu and stated that she did not steal anyone's boyfriend. She also advised Xiao Yu to accompany Xiao Ying to go to a psychiatrist who could help her, and Xiao Yu will find out what was really going on. After college started, Sang Ji planned to participate in a university design competition. And during the national holiday, she went home to Nanwu because her parents really missed her. At her house, Sang Ji's mother overheard her daughter calling someone intimately, and not realizing that it was Jia Su. Sang Ji's father was very worried and immediately asked about their relationship. But Sang Ji was afraid to admit it and worried that her parents might be against her relationship with Jia Su. Therefore, Sang Ji avoided this conversation. On one occasion, Sang Ji joined a dinner party with Sang Yan and his friends, and that means she will meet Jia Su. At that party, Jia Su reveals his relationship with Sang Ji. Then another news comes from Qianfei, who will soon be a father. Everyone congratulates him and has fun. While Sang Yan spent the rest of his time at the party, Jia Su took Sang Ji home, and the two of them looked so perfect. But Sang Ji's mother saw that, so she immediately asked her daughter about the relationship. Even though she knew that Jia Su was a good person, but his family background was the main problem and made her worry. Then Jia Su planned to meet Sang Ji's parents. However, Sang Ji's father asked Jia Su first to have a private meeting when Sang Ji wasn't at home. When they met, Sang Ji's father explained everything to Jia Su carefully. Actually, he was afraid that his daughter would be dragged into Jia Su and Xiao Ying's family problems, which might have an impact on Sang Ji. So Sang Ji's father just wanted to convey his concerns as a parent because he wants the best for his daughter and hopes that Jia Su can seriously consider their future. When Sang Ji returns home, she finally finds out that her parents have spoken to Jia Su. They want Sang Ji to rethink her relationship and advise her to break up. Sang Ji was silent, realizing that Jia Su's family background is the main problem why her parents are against their relationship. And she feels sad for Jia Su because family is not something he can choose. Jia Su's feelings became complicated after his meeting with Sang Ji's father. Worried that Jia Su would be depressed, Sang Ji called him in hopes that he wouldn't be sad. Jia Su's eyes reddened and asked Sang Ji to spend her time with her parents while he was going back to Yi to meet a client. Sang Ji is afraid that her relationship with Jia Su will end, so she took a big step to follow him. She understands her parents' concerns, but she is an adult now and very sure of what she wants. After getting off the plane, Jia Su immediately picked Sang Ji up at the airport. At that time, Sang Ji told Jia Su that when she was in high school, she never looked for an online boyfriend. At that time, she came to the airport to meet Jia Su after getting the news that he had a boyfriend. Then she explained why she kept ignoring Jia Su's messages until she went to college. Sang Ji showed her written hopes about how she liked Jia Su. By confessing all her secrets, Sang Ji hopes that Jia Su believes that she really loves him, so he doesn't need to listen to what people say about their relationship. Sang Ji thinks that Jia Su is considering breaking up with her, but actually Jia Su is thinking about what they should do in the future so they can be together forever. As for Sang Ji's parents' concerns, Jia Su was looking for the right time to explain to them. Jia Su took a big step in his life. He resigned from the company and returned to Nanwu to start his own company. Then he got a call from the hospital regarding his father's condition getting worse. Jia Su didn't know what to say to his father. He only regretted his father's actions and told him what had happened to their family all this time. Maybe Jia Su's life would be much better if his father didn't avoid his responsibility. After going through a lot of trouble, Jia Su understands what responsibility is, and now he can protect his loved ones. Jia Su asked his father to rest in peace so he can apologize to Jia Su's mother and go to heaven. Jia Su's father moves his finger, and then he passes away. After hearing this news, Sang Ji was very worried about her boyfriend. But Jia Su said calmly that such a day would happen sooner or later, but still he turned his head and cried in Sang Ji's arms. Since then, he was alone without his father and mother. In his mother's grave, Jia Su told her that his father had gone and hoped they could live happily there. Sang Ji reveals that Jia Su is a good person and she promises to protect him, to continue to be by his side and love him with all her heart so that he doesn't feel alone. For the sake of their future, Jia Su has to go back to Nanwu earlier to prepare his own business. Meanwhile, Sang Ji must finish her studies in Yi. It felt hard for them to be apart, but it was the best way. Sang Ji was busy participating in design competitions on her campus, while Jia Su started looking for an office and building his studio step by step. After looking for the right time, Jia Su visited Sang Ji's parents. After having lunch together, Jia Su had the courage to express his thoughts. Jia Su understands their worries as parents, but he also sincerely loves Sang Ji. Jia Su said that his future might be different if it's not because Sang Ji is always by his side and helps him get out from his sorrowful past. He said that now he doesn't have many things, but he will use everything he has to make Sang Ji happy. Sangji's parents don't care about anything other than their daughter's happiness, and because of Jiaxu's sincerity, they finally approved their relationship. Sang Yan sincerely hopes that his sister's relationship will go well, and Jiaxu is very grateful to him for all the support he has given him so far. On the other hand, Sangji was very happy after knowing that her parents had given their blessing. Another good news came from Sangji's design project that won the award. Jiaxu lied when he told Sangji that he was very busy and couldn't accompany her at the award ceremony. In fact, he was present at the event as a senior representative who would present the award to the participants. This surprise made Sangji very happy, and she couldn't stop looking at Jiaxu while standing together on the stage. 2 years later, Sangji and her friends graduated from college. Everyone came to the beach to celebrate it. On that day, Sangji helped with her friend's wedding proposal who had been dating for a long time. But she didn't realize that it was actually a proposal prepared by Jiaxu for Sangji. Jiaxu also invited Sang Yan and his parents. He had thought about many things and finally chose to surprise Sangji in this way. On that happy day, Jiaxu revealed that he had previously thought that it was okay for him to live alone. But after meeting Sangji, he realized that loving and being loved is something pleasant. With the blessings of family and friends, Jiaxu knelt down and proposed to Sangji with a diamond ring. Sangji said yes, and everyone cheered for such happiness. After that, Jiaxu told a little secret to Sangji, saying that he also secretly liked her. When it snowed and Sangji was in her first year of college, that's when Jiaxu fell in love with her. Their love story began when Jiaxu was 22 years old. Sangji hid her feelings and didn't let anyone know. She tried to be better until she finally realized that she was not alone because Jiaxu also ran towards her. For 5 years, Sangji healed Jiaxu's wounds from the past. Jiaxu met his first love who was still young, and this love story ended happily when Sangji was 22 years old. Some people say that love isn't about age, but it's still a taboo thing because people like to judge. A maturity cannot be measured by age, likewise with love. True love will hear what is not said and understand what is not explained because love comes from our deepest heart. A perfect couple will understand and accept each other.